Welcome to No Fomo Charts YouTube channel, live stream number 15. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. In this video, I talk about stock charts and technical analysis education. Disclaimer, these videos and charts are for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. If you have a question about a stock or crypto, please feel free to ask in the chat box or the comments after the video. And if you like this video and the content, please consider subscribing, commenting, liking, or donating. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Let's start with Dow Jones Index. All right, so before we start, just remember we're in stock earnings right now. So this coming week, we're going to have some tech earnings, some healthcare earnings, some airline earnings, and a little bit of oil earnings, gas and oil related company earnings, and insurance companies as well. So just putting that out there to always check your stock earnings calendar for any potential surprises. All right. So DJI, Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, we're on the one-day chart. If we just bring up the lines from last time. Okay, I'm zooming in for the class right now. So we're in this short-term uptrend starting from after the USA election results last November and December. You can see this in a line chart. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low price, higher high, and a little bit of pullback in the last 2 days. What's interesting to see is there is a resistance where we set it right here at around $31,119. I'm moving it here on the screen. You see that? See how many candles rejected from there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And even if we turn all these lines off, there's a little bit of a concerning pattern here. Potential evening star pattern, which could signify some kind of very, very temporary top. But we know that the support level down here on this trend line, okay, this line down here, very important, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches, okay? So this potential area on this bottom X could be a very, very interesting, let me circle it in blue. This right here in the blue circle could be a very interesting support level on the downside. Okay, but remember, we're still in, if you zoom out though, we're still in this uptrend right now. And if you zoom out to a weekly time frame, now we're looking at a 1 week chart. Okay. This uptrend, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. So a low could be somewhere in this range, $30,000. So this bottom support level, we can drop down to there and still be okay and bounce up from it. I'll draw it for you as an example. In a weekly chart, this could take many weeks and months. It could actually end up coming down here and reversing back up after some heavy pullback, maybe earnings related. But what I do want to point out though before we move on is that the USA has a new president, okay, President Biden. And, he's starting to bring on his team, okay, his cabinet members, and they are starting to really move forward with signing new legislation and regulations, basically like government rules. And that affects the stock market, that affects the economy. So what I learned about the stock market is that real government regulations, legislation changes is basically supersedes the stock charts, okay? So what's like stronger than technical analysis, right, is the fundamentals analysis. What's even stronger than the fundamental analysis? The government, regulation and legislation. And we'll see how that played into Bitcoin when we get to there. the Bitcoin area. Okay, so just remember these targets still hold. Okay, we're in the middle of earnings. All right, we hit the top side here. We didn't quite hit the X target, but close enough. Okay, on this top side. And now I'm looking for a pullback down to 30,592. What would reverse and go up, what would make it go up is if we have really, really good earnings this week. Then we'll just bounce up, break through this resistance. But if not, we're probably coming down here. So basically, these still remain bull versus bear targets. All right. Next, S&P 500, very, very similar. Okay, let me just, if somebody's watching this for the first time, let me zoom out first. All right, so this is the COVID-19 crash, okay, and the recovery due to the government stimulus here in the USA. All right, S&P 500 index, still in this daily uptrend, the one-day chart. Weekly, still in a weekly uptrend. Again, possible to pull back down to $3,500. Very similar chart pattern here where we're in basically an upward channel. Up channel, basically. High, low, high, low, high, low. Very textbook looking. Okay, I know there's a lot of lines here, but basically just uptrending. So again, we hit the top of this trend line. I'll shake it here. Top of the trend line up here. Okay. Little bit of evening star pattern. Okay. So again, the most immediate support, I'll bring it down from here, is right here. Okay. At 37.58. And so I'm going to mark it this level. Why? Because it's a support level. Okay. And this is a resistance, or actually technically this one resistance. Okay. So we hit that target. That's fine. Okay. That's expected. Now, if earnings is bad, same deal. Could end up down here. All right. And how much percent is that from the closed price on Friday? About 1.9%. Okay. Next, NASDAQ Composite Index. All right. NASDAQ still in the uptrend. Okay. Sometimes these lines get shifted over, so a little bit strange. Right here. Yep. Tighten those lines up for the charts. Okay, so you see now the NASDAQ in a tighter up channel. High, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Just hitting this top of this trend line right in the past 2 business days, 2 trading days. All right. And now again, the same setup applies. There's support down here with this trend line. Okay, so I'm actually going to move the first target. It's right here. Okay, that's first bear target. Second bear target would be down here at this support. First bull target, we actually hit it already. Okay, we hit it here. And then second bull target to the upside. Again, what would make it break out to the upside is really good tech earnings. If we have mixed expectation or bad earnings or some kind of government announcement, legislation, regulation, we're looking at downside. Downside possibly, maybe even up to 2 to 3% downside on NASDAQ. But remember, it's just a very, very short-term pullback down. Okay, so the weekly is still a little bit overextended, but not something the market has never seen before. And again, if this is the high, if this is really, really the higher high, higher low, higher high, it's how high can we go before the market will pull back down to make the higher low. All right, next up, Russell 2000. Russell 2000. So again, Russell 2000 making moves in the market this year or last year. All right, this is more of a very tight ascending wedge pattern. Okay, we're finding this resistance spot over here in the 2150 range. A little bit losing momentum. You can kind of see it, right? It goes up, loses a little bit of momentum, goes up again, loses a little bit of momentum, goes up again, and really, really kind of possibly losing momentum, right? Let's look at some other indicators. Yes, I could see that happening. I could see this happening in the Russell 2000 first on a daily. So very, very interesting potential signal here on the Russell 2000. Let's check some other indicator tools. Again, we're still in the uptrend. So interesting levels, right? Interesting levels of support and resistance I'm talking about. So this target down here is probably a little too low. Okay, that's very, very much longer term target. So the most immediate target would probably be somewhere in this range in $2,072. So this X, which I'm going to circle for next time, or if it continues up here, this target, 5% bull target, 5% bear target. It's going to be interesting with the earnings coming up this week. All right, the VIX, let's see, VIX, still finding support. Okay, it's technically in a daily downtrend, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high. So overall downtrend, but it's still finding support at the $21 range, which is why this yellow horizontal line down here. So somebody out there is still concerned. I mean, could be big institutions, could be big banks, big traders are still concerned about some kind of pullback on the market. Okay, so we'll just say that it's not going to happen. It's not happening yet. Okay, but there is a little bit of suspicious activity happening on the VIX. But again, earnings supersedes technical charts. Excuse me. Okay, moving on to DXY, the dollar currency index, DXY. All right, so again, it's in a daily downtrend for some time now, okay, because the market has been going up. People have been spending their cash in this market, buying stocks, trading stocks. All right, and we have a potential, again, this potential upside down head and shoulders, which is very suspicious. And so it hasn't happened yet, and so the pattern is still in play. 1.4%. Okay, so this is the bull target down here, 1.4% from the neckline would be, again, this bear target down here at $89.34, bull target at $92. So very interesting setup, but again, earnings, we need some, if the dollar currency is going to go up, we need bad earnings to like trigger that. Okay, moving on, gold, XAU, USD. Are this kind of downward sloping broadening wedge formation. I know there's a lot of lines. All right, so potential patterns. Let's see here. Well, there is immediate support right here, $1,824. It's still in a longer term downtrend, but trying to see reversal. The immediate pattern right here is the head and shoulders on gold right there. So if this is the neckline, potential 7% breakdown, if that happens, what do you know, right to the X marks the spot down here. All right, so that's in the blue, which is $1,700. And it seems impossible, but it's not. All it needs is rejection down here, loss of support, and rejection here, and then if you lose this support, you know, it could take a couple of weeks to end up down there. But again, if there is potential of this pattern, right? So again, it's kind of mixed. So you could feel it in gold on the charts. You could feel it on the Dow Jones. It's kind of mixed right now. Okay, so silver, XAG, USD. Are we on time? Okay, doing good on time. All right, so basically in a larger term, super large term, possible ascending triangle, also consolidating, right? So there's kind of two patterns in play right now. But right now it seems to be riding up this bottom trend line. So it seems like the ascending triangle is in play, meaning this blue triangle is in play. And so do a moderate measurement with consolidation, possible 25% move on silver. But what's going to be the catalyst for it? Can't just all be technicals, right? 25% to the downside will bring us down to basically these blue targets. Basically, this chart is still in play, right? But if you look very, very carefully, establishing some kind of higher low, higher high, higher low. So if this is going to happen, it needs to break out of the top of this triangle on volume for confirmation that this is real. All right, US oil, ETF. All right, so longer term, higher high, higher low, higher high, uptrend pattern still intact on the 1-day chart. riding this trend line support very nicely, a little bit of topping out action in the past week, but we're coming down to this trend line support. So we want to be looking for buyers here that are going to buy in this zone, buying the dip, so to speak, the trend line dip. All right. If this fails though and gets rejected, then this bottom target is in play of $33.42. But if this holds, and let's say there's one more of these like candles like that, then it might end up on this bull target at $40 to the upside eventually, right? So now it's just a matter of, does support hold? Does government regulation stable? Are these earnings in the companies in the oil and gas stable? If all yes, and the oil industry has perceived increased demand, then I'm, on the fundamental side, that I'm expecting this should bounce if it's normal. If something bad happens, it won't bounce though, right? So we do watch out for that. UNG. All right. So I know last week I gave a weekly target, so that was a little bit too long term. So let me focus a little more on the daily charts for this one, for this class. All right, for this video. So basically in the daily downtrend, okay, for UNG, United States Natural Gas ETF. It's not a stock. This is the fund, the ETF. Okay, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. What's forming here, right here, is an upside down head and shoulders. Oh, you know what? Let me change the title. I think people are getting confused. This is last week's title. There we go. All right. So lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We didn't quite break up to the, I mean, this could have been a nice trade, but it stopped. I actually traded this. I bought UNG in this zone and sold in this zone. So, because I saw this little baby head and shoulders pattern, I got out right here, somewhere in the upper $9 range. But now the next pattern that's setting up is, there's two scenarios that I'm seeing, is we can have an upside down head and shoulders. If that happens, and this is a neckline, very nice setup. Possibly 19%. That would bring us up to here to like, probably round it up to like $12. All right. So that could happen. If that does not happen, that 19% target, then we can see pull back to the downside somewhere in this zone. Okay, riding this support. So first target would be this support down here, right? If that loses, then we're looking at downside trendline support. Okay, and the exact negative 19% can happen. So somewhere in this zone where the blue X is, I'll lower it a little bit. This one's a really, really downside target. So we're looking at this. Let me draw this upside down head and shoulders, and we'll watch it for the next week and see if it plays out. Okay, moving on. Let's do a little bit of crypto. All right, Bitcoin USD. Wow. The technical analysis works so well if we have our support and resistance levels and our trend lines, support and resistances set up. Look at these targets, okay? I sold, just as an educational example, I swing traded coins and I sold in the upper 40,000s. How did I know? From experience and the charts. All right, because when last, I think it was 2 weeks ago, when we were stuck here in the upper 40,000s, okay, there was a potential warning sign, like I said, even on the charts, that we have this 5-wave Elliott wave pattern on a weekly chart. For Bitcoin, usually this is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, marking the end. I know there's a lot of lines. And then I'm looking for ABC correction down eventually. Possibly. It doesn't always have to happen like that. Okay? So there's one warning there. Again, the second one was the presidential transition and the government regulations. So that's another change warning. That's the trigger for the sell-off down to $30,000, from 40,000 down to 30,000. It's basically government regulation changes on crypto. Because, anytime in the past like 3 to 6 months, the SEC or the president, former president, could have said something like 2019, where basically, such and such crypto is bad or whatever, like they said on the tweet in 2019 and crashed the market. Okay, there was not a major hack on Binance or like the US or Asia exchanges that I know about, like a huge hack that's going to crush the market. But what did cause a sell-off last week was, or was it 2 weeks ago, when the Binance had a maintenance shutdown? I mean, there's an example right there. There's no more buyers, so of course the bots are going to sell. People are going to sell. People are going to capitalize on that opportunity. So that's kind of like the 1-2 punch that I'm seeing, or the 1-2-3 punch is, so many buyers in this market. Who's left to buy? Number one. Number two is there is maintenance update. So, a lot of US buyers were locked out for about 8 hours. Okay, and that creates fear and uncertainty and doubt in holding positions, which most people never do. And three, during those maintenance periods. And number three is the government regulation changes. Okay, that's the 1-2-3 punch of why we're getting this big pullback down. All right. Now, if you look at the charts, though, I drew this former triangle, this consolidating triangle, and again, there was buyer support over here, but again, I said if we break down, okay, you measure the triangle. If we break up, then we're going to retest 40,000. But I said if we don't, though, bear target scenario is we're going to hit these support levels and exactly where I marked it. Where and why was it these? Let me start. Where was it and why was it important? All right, so the support levels, if we turn to here, is $35,000, okay, and then $30,000. Now, if you look very carefully, and again, this is crypto, on daily support level is $25,000 is the next major support, probably somewhere mid 25,000 as well, right? And then 20,000 is the big support down here. So those are longer term targets, okay? And again, there's all these support levels to the downside, but again, Bitcoin hitting its 50-day moving average is significant. That hasn't happened for some time now, for months, right? And basically, yeah, it's not over yet because we know, day traders, bots, algorithms, they're going to keep buying dips and whatnot. But now we have a slightly different, setup. So for example, if I charted this fresh right now, I'm seeing 3 resistances on the top, basically, on a trend line, like such. Okay, right here. See that? All right. And then at least you could do this one, okay? Or you could do this one, trend line I'm talking about. You could do this one. So either one, though, is going to give you some kind of a general, more accurate. Yeah, both of them are valid, right? This one's a little more tight on the top side, more like a channel, and this one's more of a descending wedge. But either way is, if we're starting to lose momentum on Bitcoin, for the reasons I mentioned, plus technical charts, lower low, lower high, lower low, where's the lower high going to be? If that's the lower high, then I'm expecting lower low into break below 30,000. So now $30,000 is the support. Psychological and real candle support. Okay, I'm just going to erase this one because it's getting a little messy on the charts. Right? And now 35,000 is the resistance. And 40,000 is the resistance up there. And we know 25,000. Okay, so does this make more sense? Where we had a nice run in Bitcoin for 3-4 months. Look at all these higher high, higher low, high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. That one's getting sketchy. That I thought that one was going to go down, but it stopped. Higher high, higher low, high, low, high, high, low. That's fine, but then now we get a lower high. Now that's not fine. Then we get a lower low. Okay, now that's not fine. So now we're in a 1-day downtrend. That's confirmed. At least 2 lower lows and 2 lower highs. So we'll have to see when the next upcoming earnings and government legislation being signed, right? I would expect maybe the lower high to go up to here, like 35,000 retest. So that could be one bull target. And then the bear target would be $30,000 support test. And then if this breaks, let's say if it breaks, let's do two scenarios. If it goes up, bull target, then I'm expecting maybe we get one more bounce and recovery like that. And then we have to break out of here. But we need strong demand, which I'm not really seeing on these charts. Look at this volume, right? And again, there wasn't as much buying down here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, there's much more buying down here, dip buying here, probably short-term day trading bots, right? If this goes down, bear scenario number 2 here, if this breaks below and tries to test it and reject down, then I'm expecting 25,000. So this is kind of that larger pattern at play. Lower low, lower high, lower low. So let's say lower high here. It might stay in the triangle, okay, if we're going to play it safe, right? We could just stay in a triangle, but if this happens, one more test, fail, boom, break down to 25,000. If this rejects, this, like, you could see it happening over the next like 3 to 6 months. It's possible. Possible. All right, but let me leave those 2 targets in there. Okay, Ethereum USD. Ethereum USD. Let's erase these charts and look at it fresh. Basically, since October, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So Ethereum hasn't crashed as hard. But, you know, once Bitcoin crashes, Ethereum will also fall. So Ethereum had its last, like, you know, hurrah to get to its 14,000. 1,400 previous long-term price target from the past, right? So we did it. We did it. Yes. Bulls did it. But again, look at this weekly, which hasn't closed yet, but there's a little bit of overextended resistance here, and again a double top basically at the from 1300 to 1400, right? Let's draw this in like a yellow right here. Okay, so all right, now what do we look for? Support to the downside. There is this support here. Basically, if you want easy numbers, okay, $1,000 is the support, all right? Because it's been tested in that zone so many times. I'm going to draw a little yellow box down here. Right there. All right? So, still in an uptrend? Yes. Yes, it is. But, again, look at all these, you know, pivot support levels. 900, 800, basically 700 as well. Okay? So, you want to watch out for that. Okay? Because right here, if you look at this zone, particularly this candle, there's not much support holding this price up. Yes, this might have been a really, really oversold opportunity, but again, the major price trading was in this zone in the mid 500, 600, 700 range. So if this is a true double top, okay, let's play out the scenarios. If this is a true double top on Ethereum, you know, that's plus or minus 30%. So if we lose this support, 30% is down here $700. Okay, so that would be the maybe the second or third bear target down. All right, but you never know. You never know. We could just keep consolidating inside here. That's another scenario, right? Just retest and retest as the market tries to figure out what's happening in the world, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some strange, you know, plus 30% on Ethereum to try to hit 1,800 to 2,000. It's possible. It's possible in this zone, okay? But again, keeping Bitcoin context in mind is we might be losing momentum on Ethereum. All right, so that's kind of like the shorter version of crypto. I'm only doing Bitcoin and Ethereum because those are kind of the biggest, most popular crypto right now. And until somebody asks me for altcoins or something like that, I'm not really going to do those. Even though, you know, I am watching that. But the bigger one is just Bitcoin. If I'd had to pick one coin, just watch Bitcoin. What's happening with Bitcoin on longer term charts. Okay, so let's move on to Asia. Try to make a shorter video for everyone today. All right, Asia stock market indexes. SHComp. Shanghai Composite Index. Shanghai Composite Index. All right, so SHComp, Chinese stock market breaking out of this resistance. Okay, this is a key concept right here. This used to be the ceiling. This used to be the ceiling. You see that? 1, 2, 3 times. Then we rode this trend line support up. Okay. We rode it up, break out of here, and basically consolidate up here. And it's basically like a little bit of a pennant. Not quite a flag. More like a little pennant. I mean, it's debatable, right? Actually, it's not a pennant because it's not a triangle. So it's basically a flag. So basically flagging up here, bull flag up here. And now I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back actually down here to that bottom support X down here at 3463 down here. It would be very interesting, right? Because you have the high, low, high like this. High, low, and then try to break out of this resistance in the next like couple months. So if we think about the global situation right now, we got a new president, US president, signing plenty of new regulation, legislation, new cabinet members. How's that going to affect Asia? How's it going to affect the Chinese stock market politics, Japan market politics, South Korea, Australia, right? India, all these places that even Europe, right? So that's why there is a bit of definite market reaction to the politics going on, politic changes. Okay, so these still are in play, right? Now there's like this super triangle, not quite though, right? Because there's not that many visible support levels in the backside. Okay, but again, if you're an investor, you look at this on China, like this is like huge, upside down head and shoulders, absolutely huge, huge. Very enormous, right? If this is really going to happen, there's a 40% potential bull target on the Chinese stock market. But this is very long term. Like it could take like 10 years, 7 years to get there, right? If this continues, right? 3, 5, 7 years, even a couple of years. But that's the target. Okay, the super bull target from the monthly upside down head and shoulders is there. Weekly, you could also see it as well. And it's been there before in 2015. So it might actually take, it could only take 1 year, right? 1 to 5 years or 7 years. All right, so let's move on. HSI, Hang Seng Index, Hong Kong stock market. So again, hitting these previous resistance levels to the left. Still on the daily uptrend, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. A little bit of pullback down in the past couple 2 trading days. And could easily pull back to one of these supports. Now there's a steeper trend line. So again, this X down here marks the spot. Where is that? Somewhere around 27,000 or 28,000 Hong Kong dollars right there. Okay. Also, the immediate support is 29,195, which it looks like it's about to drop and hit, which is this blue X over here. So very interesting. A little bit overextended, right? Went straight up, kind of like rocket ship style. So this target would make more sense. This one would be like maybe there's going to be a bounce up here and then come down. So potential scenarios here like that, or maybe just really, quick and fast down here, or maybe something like that. But I'm really looking at that 27,000 target. Okay, Nikkei 225, Japan Index. Again, there's a lot of lines here, so we'll just turn them off. Still in this longer term. Might be easier to see on a weekly. Higher high, higher low. Breakout, higher high, and then where's the higher low going to be, right? So the immediate one, 26,000, could be a spot, okay, which I drew here. All right, so maybe I might change the line color for the next class, but I'll leave it alone for now. So higher high, higher low, higher high, boom, higher low, 27,000 right here. Okay, we're looking at the Nikkei 225, Japan Index, Asia, stock markets. All right, so let me just clean this up. So again, what I'll do, I'm looking at this Japanese index, stock market index, is maybe go long term first. Like I said last time, okay. There is that support resistance, this support, and this support as the major levels. So we can leave it there. Weekly, there is a weekly trend line underneath right there. Okay, so now this chart makes a little more sense, and maybe one more support right here. So this chart makes more sense. It's going higher high, higher low, higher high. So then this immediate spot right there, X marks the spot for Japan, about 27,000 estimated. Couldn't be a nice pullback spot. It could just come down and continue up like that. So bull target to the upside would eventually probably be 30,000. All right, right there. So those are two targets. Okay, KOSPI, KOSPI Korean stock price index. All right, so I know there's a lot of lines here, so I'll try to explain it. All right, so we have a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? See how that works? So now I erase those lines just for the class to make it fresh. All right, let's zoom out to a monthly. So South Korea stock price index is at the all-time highs, the highest price ever in history for now. All right, so we'll draw support levels first. Basically, what is that? 2,601, right? Is the support level. I'm on a monthly chart, 1 month, very long-term chart. Next one is 2248, 1867, and then 1674. Okay, those are the big support levels to the downside. All right, so that's where that comes from. All right, so if we zoom into a daily chart, though, we do have a temporary top right here at 3152. It could be easily broken, right? And we have this trend line price to the downside underneath. So again, just like the Japanese market there could be a pullback down to this zone right here. You can see this M. It could pull back down to here. So what's the percent target on that? That's 10%. That's significant. That's large. That's very large for a stock price index, right? Because again, you have this higher high, higher low price, higher high, higher low price, resistance breakout, higher high, higher low. Okay. So again, it's dependent on earnings and government regulation and relations. Okay. So again, we kind of have on the 1-day chart, if you look right here, very carefully, there is a potential topping out right here. You see this? Been tested multiple times. See? Right here. A little bit of a suspicious signal right there. Right here on the weekly as well. Okay, so I would watch that a little carefully for KOSPI and because it's earnings as well. All right, moving on. XJO, Australia Stock Price Index. For this one, I'll leave the drawing up. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, so this was a little easier because there's a previous resistance target. So for the bulls, right, the 7142 Australian dollars. Okay, breaking out this resistance. So now what you need to see, there you can't see the volume, but right, we need to break out to more higher highs to hit that target. If not, we're probably going to test this zone with the little yellow boxes. Try to move it. But basically right here, there's a big price trading cluster. So again, these targets remain. But it's nice to see a little bit of breakout, a little bit of pullback, but we'll see this, it could happen. Breakout, boom, and like that. High, low, high, right? Or come down, rejection, back down to here. Okay, so it's basically like a plus or minus 2% move from the breakout spot, right? Very nice. Okay, Nifty 50 index. All right, here we go. We're gonna watch out for this. High, low, higher high. Again, hitting that top line, trend line resistance up there. A little bit of a double top action in some of these Asian stock indexes, right? Right here, boom, boom, okay? And we'll see, is it gonna pull back down to this blue circle? So this analysis still holds and is in play, right? Are we gonna higher high and we're gonna boom, come back down here? We're gonna pull back, if not, we could stop here and then reverse up. All right, well, and again on the UKX. So this is the United Kingdom Stock Market Index. And again, a little bit sketchy, a little bit dangerous here in terms of the reversal downtrend. And then after election results, changed everything. And vaccines as well. So higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, hitting this trend line support, right where basically the X marks the spot. And now I'm looking for a holding of this support and trying to hit higher highs. But again, it's earnings. So if that does not happen, okay, scenario one, if it's good earnings globally, then we're going to push up to $7,000 right here and establish a new support level. If that does not happen, then we're going to break down through the support, probably retest. There could be actually head and shoulders that appears possible, right? Or just a downtrend, textbook downtrend. All right, so I would watch these two bear target levels very carefully during the earnings season right now. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to click subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment of a stock or crypto that you want to see, or maybe something that you want to learn about on the stock charts. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.